Okay guys, this is a spoiler warning. If you have not seen Final Fantasy VII Resurgence, the following sequence is from one of the post-credit scenes. The link to the full film will be down below. Let's get to it.
Well, memories. Don't worry. Lend me your strength. There's still so much to be done.
Now guys, this is the special edition of Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 1 for the PS5. And the main reason why that post-credit scene was able to happen. Now of course a lot of tricks had to, go through, but if I didn't have this, and I wasn't the fan that I was, I wouldn't be able to make Sephiroth appear in the live-action short film. Now guys, this is the first Guerrilla Filmmaker episode on Final Fantasy VII Resurgence and kind of like the making of it in a fun and entertaining way to share with you some of the cool things, the funny things, and the challenges of bringing Final Fantasy VII to live action. Now if you want to be a filmmaker or make a sick new hobby, then make sure to hit the link in the description and check out my program Guerrilla Filmmaker and the Lifetime Pass that is basically going to give you lifetime access to my professional modules, courses, and a lot of extras that's teaching you exactly my methodology, my techniques, how you can pick up any camera basically and create some sick stuff. And another cool part is that since this is my program, I can offer you guys 15% off if you use the code down in the description, so make sure to check it out. Okay guys, so let's rewind back to the opening shot of this post-credit scene, and I want to take you through guys kind of like how this happened, right? Talk about some visual effects, talk about what the original actually looks like and what it ended up to be, as well as some sick new stuff that I had to come up with to actually take Sephiroth and place him against the main protagonist, Echo. So here we have the first shot of the post-credit scene, and we open up with a macro close-up of the eye. Eyes are a big thing in Final Fantasy, especially FF7 with the Mako infused energy, and also within the game itself, the main character Cloud having a lot of lapses in memory and so forth. They really focus on his eyes and the struggle and that sort of thing. So this image frame shot pays homage to the game directly. Now the cool thing is guys, in the bottom picture you see the original recording of the camera, then in the middle you see some heavy grading and filtering, and then the top the final look of the film with the Mako eyes effect on and some other cool layers to really make it look cinematic. Again guys, in order to go in depth with these things, check out my Guerrilla Filmmaker program. But essentially I think it's really cool that if I try to zoom in here a bit, you can see that the actual eye, the Mako infused eye, takes it from the existing eye and simply uses color effects to make it look like that, which is pretty cool because most people see this and they think it's fake, but the reason why it looks so realistic is because it's actually taking the existing eye and using some really cool coloring and exposure techniques to map up just the eye itself to make it look exactly like the game. So if we move on, this is the second shot, and now we see the full character and we start seeing that he's in some form of a really darkness limbo state of environment. And again, it just gives you a nice breakdown between the original, what the camera recorded, the effects, and the final look. If we move on further, we just gradually teasing the audience and pulling out to show exactly what's happening. And here we kind of like give them a nice look of the environment itself. Again, down below, blue screen because the Buster Sword had the green orb on the back, and then it just shows you the insane level of stages that go between the original camera recording and what the final image the audience sees. So I'm just gonna skip a bit forward, even though these are some really important frames. Now we can see the full limbo effect with the smoke, the reflection of the water, and just like infinite darkness. And it, again, just shows you me standing with a blue screen floor against a black background and just acting the scene out, basically, which is another funny thing. This whole post-credit scene was actually done by a singular person. Like, I set up everything, I filmed it, I was in front of it, I did the costumes, the props, the editing, the visual effects, the sound design, all of it. It just goes to show you, like James Cameron says, every filmmaker starts out as a fan, and once you pick up a camera and you start filming a story and making something, then you become a filmmaker. And of course, you know, if you take it seriously, it can get you even further. So if we go to the next frame, now we have our man, Sephiroth himself, and we can see him standing in front of Echo in the same kind of like limbo environment. And again, guys, very important to watch the full film in order to get some insights as to what exactly is going on. But I want to focus about how crazy it was that we have a live action adaptation of FF7 and we have Sephiroth himself in the film, right? So how on earth did this happen? Now, I'm a massive FF7 fan, if you guys can tell. And the way that this happened was I played the FF7 remake on PS5. Actually PS4, but then the PS5 update came up, so I played that as well. So within the FF7 remake, they have a ton of scenes where Sephiroth shows up, and they have a few new things as well. So I thought, if I can take specific things that Sephiroth says in the game, I can actually create a new scene, a new script, as if he says those things to someone else. So then I went through the game and took out particular things that Sephiroth said, but then I realized something crazy. Sephiroth appears in a lot of contrasty backgrounds within the game, and there is a technique in post-production called rotoscoping, and it's the process, a very, very tedious process of rotoscoping out someone from an existing, recording without a green screen, just being in a room like this, actually going with masks and rotoscoping them out through the frames, and then what you're left with is just them. But because Sephiroth appeared in specific scenes in almost black background, it made my life a lot easier. What I had to do after that is color him, do color correction and image processing, and then replicate that exact look to how I would film the character of Echo. So if you look at the bottom, guys, here, you see the original recording of the camera. Again, it's myself suited up with a blue screen floor because I really needed the legs to be able to be in as well, in a black background because I was planning from the get-go to have a limbo state of environment and just acting out the scene. My reference was Sephiroth as I pulled him out from the game. So I did a lot of post-production work to get the scenes where I could get Sephiroth from, take him out of it, put him in infinite black, color him and image process him correctly, and then I had to match that in terms of light, camera and angle to film the character of Echo. Once those two things happened, it was all about visual effects and advanced post-production, which again we cover through various modules in Guerrilla Filmmaker, and that is how the two combined. Once I was happy with, positioning, scaling and perspective of my live action recording and the one from the game, then it was all about adding extra effects like smoke haze, reflection, sounds, camera movement, digital of course, and create this amazing scene with some super proud of, right? As not only, first and foremost, the fan inside me was just such a happy child when I saw this, because, when you have, as a filmmaker, when you have an image in your head and you're trying to create it tangibly for people to experience on their screen, is always such a wholesome moment when you do pull it off. But first and foremost, as a fan, seeing this just made me extremely happy. But then as a filmmaker, I was simply proud of and so excited to share it in the film, even though I know that because it took place in the post-credit scene, it was highly likely that viewing it on YouTube, a lot of people would miss it. But anyways, guys, that's, it comes with the territory of a web-released film. But essentially, that's how it happened. Now, if we move on to another example, this, because I could not only show him from afar, I also needed to do the classic kind of like over-the-shoulder situation. It was the exact same process. I pulled him out from the game, and I image processed him and colored him to look a bit more realistic, if that makes any sense, because originally he had a lot of red hues and stuff like that, but I wanted that classic FF7 teal color. So basically, again, down below we see a blue screen and me acting out the position and the movement and that sort of thing. Then we see that effect, blue screen removed and the character placed in that infinite limbo. And then finally we have Sephiroth and him. Now, if you guys have a keen eye and you zoom in here, there we go. As you can see, the original, the character is actually in focus with the sword and everything, because, when I shot it, I placed the camera to focus on him, because I had to do a lot of blue screen effect. But in the final one, you see him blurred out. And this, without boring you guys to death, but this is some really cool tricks you can pull off with green screen work, where you can actually control the depth of field digitally. So in order to make it look as realistic as I could, I pulled focus between Sephiroth and Echo and played between them, as well as having a lot of effects like digital camera movement as if it was someone who was filming it handheld, a lot of haze and other like film-like effects and that sort of thing. But as you see, the final result is really, really good. Now, of course, if you played the game and you're into the lore, you know that this is not freaking possible. But I hope that the movie, and as I say, my Guerrilla Filmmaker modules, guys, the SVS, which stands for Story, X Visuals, X Sound, is when you bring all of those together, you can really immerse the audience in the film. And so I hope that by that point, the audience was immersed, and when this showed up, it just made them as happy as it made me with chills when I created this post-credit scene. And going through the comments, I was very happy that quite a few of you did mention exactly that. So this is the behind the veil kind of thing of how, for an actual short film, how a post-credit scene like this was created. And through the Filmmaker Reacts episodes, we talk a lot about what maybe prospectively went into making the amazing cinematics that we take a look at. But here you actually sit with the director, editor, filmmaker himself that actually did this, so I can tell you exactly how it came to be. So I really hope you guys enjoy it. Make sure to leave a comment down below of what did you think of this post-credit scene, what did you think of the film in general, and I'll catch you guys on the next Guerrilla Filmmaker episode. After, we'll probably do another Filmmaker Reacts, Guerrilla Filmmaker episode, and just interplay between the two. Check out the Guerrilla Filmmaker Lifetime Pass, guys. Is a must. It's actually the must-have that is going to teach you how to beat the system, because through over a decade of experience in the filmmaking industry, making commercials, short films, and so forth, concepts, I had to come up with a very specific set of techniques, methodologies, approach that allows me, at the end of the day, to create something like this and share it with all of you guys. So I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Until then, stay awesome and creative.